What's up, people of YouTube? My name is General Prime and welcome back to my channel. Now, it's obvious that this year has been one hell of a roller coaster ride, and in my books it will go down as the most definitive year in modern history. Nobody saw the capacity of such monstrous evil that awaited us at the beginning of the year, and when it all hit the fan, I even began to think I was somehow transported to an alternate earth, the equivalent of hell. It was almost as if an entire decade's worth of misfortune was somehow mistakenly deployed by the new guy who just happens to be an amateur technician at the lab where a planet simulation takes place, and this will somehow make sense for those of you who believe we are living in a simulation. So from World War III almost kicking off, to forest fires, to the pandemic whose name we can't speak of, to the worldwide protests for the killing of one George Floyd, to civil unrest in places like Hong Kong, and rumors of the death of Kim Jong-un and how disappointed we all were that it was false, from the lady who may or may not have fed her husband to her tigers, to shameless denial of police brutality both in the United States and in my home country Nigeria, where on the 20th of October, peaceful protesters were shot and killed by the Nigerian army, who may or may not have acted on the orders of our president, who, and I definitely need to add this, may or may not be alive. This year was more dramatic than an entire season of one of those housewife reality TV shows I cannot believe people spend time on. I could go on and on. It felt like playing a Call of Duty Zombies game where every level gets tougher than the last. It felt like we waited every month in dreadful unease, expectant of what could befall us next month. I mean, we had killer hornets. Yeah, sure, the media blew that one out of proportion, but fucking killer hornets. Also, the sky was on fucking fire and half a city in Lebanon literally blew up. But to be fair though, it wasn't all that bad. Even though I can count on one hand all the events I personally find exciting that took place this year, I am still thankful that they happened. I mean, we sent new rovers to Mars and SpaceX sent astronauts to the ISS. What else? We had the PS5. Is that good enough? I hope so. But so much bad happened this year that it's difficult to sift through it all to find the good. So many disappointments. I'm looking at you, Cyberpunk 2077. A lot of people lost their jobs and sources of livelihood. The world economy was stanked. And at one point in time, the price of oil dropped so low that you will need to be paid to get petrol at the gas station. 2020 was supposed to be the future. The year depicted in movies as the time where technology evolved to near perfection. Life was supposed to be great and people were supposed to be relatively smart. But instead, what did we get? People politicizing the wearing of face masks. People refusing to adhere to instructions as simple as staying 6 feet away from each other. And the hilarious explosion of Karens. They were everywhere. Funny, racist, lesson teaching, self-entitled Karens, to the point the name Karen is now as repugnant as Judas or Adolf or Hitler. 2020 was definitely the year of the Karens. But thankfully, despite it all, there are still those who made sure that my faith in humanity remained. The doctors who risked their lives to save others, the essential workers who went out of their way to serve, and the teachers who still impacted knowledge through Zoom. This year brought to light the people that really matter to us, the people who make our lives easier and worth living, not the celebrities we adore who mostly are out of touch with reality to the point they made that ridiculously horrible rendition of John Lennon's Imagine. Not Ellen, who we have come to find out is a horrible person. Not any of those Kardashian entities, and most certainly not any of these YouTube stars like Shane Dawson or Jeffree Star. We can't also forget the Jake Paul, Nate Robinson fights. The Paul brothers are quite controversial, but Lord was that knockout funny as hell. If there is one lesson we have to learn from this year, it is that we have to give more credit and respect to people who are responsible for our health and our food. The entire world was attacked and not a single bullet or missile could protect us. That makes it clear where funds need to be diverted to and who we need to give more respect and reverence to in our society. But at the end of the day, at the end of it all, even though there are about 82 million coronavirus cases and more than 1 million deaths worldwide, we still have managed to find a vaccine. We have still managed to stay strong and hopeful, to strive, to come together to show evidence of our humanity, to show how resilient the human species are. Christmas has finally come to an end, and while it didn't seem much like Christmas this year, as most places are still on lockdown and even more places are getting ready for more lockdowns, we can be hopeful and optimistic that next year will be a lot more prospective, surpassing, rewarding, and overall better than this year. This year really sucked, but we're proud that as bad and as impossible as it seemed, you survived it. So, Merry Christmas everyone, and I hope that we will be using the lessons we've learned this year to better our lives next year. Cheers.